Hello, my name is Paul, and I'm here with lesson 7, and we got several little things to talk about in this section, and this is part 1. In this, by the way, my name is Paul, and I teach lessons at the First Church of the Brethren here on Hummel Street in Harrisburg, Pennsylvania. And right now we have 6 different classes between 2 different days of people coming when they can, as they can, and be able to earn a computer if necessary. And also on Saturday I have more advanced classes where I'm teaching the art of using a word processor, getting the most out of it that you can. We're working on spreadsheets and also on several other programs that are going on. In this part, I'm going to be talking to you about screensavers. What I need to tell you about screensavers is that I had somebody, a business, ask me to develop a system for them, and they were having certain problems. It needed to be expanded for the needs of their business is what it was. And what in this process, they wanted to what they called they wanted another page added onto their system. Well, when I went in and saw what they were interested in, I was looking at this, and I took notice to the monitor that is a CRT, a cathode ray tube, had an image burned into it because in this business it was a furrier, and they would only have a few people coming in a day if they were lucky. Otherwise, they were creating new coats for people for either orders or for stock in the store. So the computer was sitting on by itself on the opening screen quite a bit. And when a phosphorus backing gets an image burned in because of a constant image being shown on the display of the screen, it will be able to retain this, and you will have a ghost-like image with everything you look at on your computer. Some flat screens still retain this problem that I have had reports that this will also take place. So the use of a screensaver is important. The one thing is about a screensaver is that it is very often colorful. It is entertaining. In other words, you can use this thing for waterfalls or aquariums or whatever it may be, but Windows comes with a number of screensavers already installed. Out of the installed screensavers, you can go online and literally look up millions of different screensavers to download, and they're in the development all the time. So there is also another thing about a screensaver is that if you set it properly, I had a person that was I thought was a friend for a period of 3 years, and he turned out to be something different. But in the course of time, let's say that you have a friend that comes in and they sit down with you and you're at your computer, they come in to visit, and you get up and go to the kitchen and get some snack for the 2 of you or whatever you may be doing. But what happens is all that's left for him to browse on is the work you're doing on your computer. Well, a screensaver can be used to be activated in time that this will not take place. So there is an element of security along with it. One thing is that I want to show you is that in this screensaver that is now available, I'd like you to see how it is set up and how it works, and the different things that you can do with it. with this, I'm trying to get there we go. Now we're in business. To get to a screensaver, you will right click on an empty area of the desktop to bring up a menu. Remember, a right click on your mouse will always bring up a menu. The left click on your mouse will either make a selection or bring action. So if it only brings makes a selection as on your desktop, a double click of the left button will always bring action and open a program or whatever you want to do. In this case, we're using the right click on your mouse, and this is designated for the people that has their computer set up as a right-handed person. So if you're left-handed, you'll use a left button. If you're right-handed, you use a right button. And on this, you'll take notice on the bottom of the list that comes up on the menu is something called Personalize. Once we use Personalize, we will left-click on that button one time, and it should bring action. This is more graphical than it was before, and it is very usable for this. And take notice that there is a lot of things on here, but really it hasn't changed hardly a bit, only the appearance. We're going to turn our attention to the lower right corner where it says Screensaver, and with our left button we are going to make a selection on that to bring up our next window. In this window, it is very similar to what we have experienced in the other computers. There is some changes on here, but not as far as the screensaver itself is concerned. Take notice that there is an area there where screensaver says none, but there is an arrowhead pointing downwards that will open up a list of screensavers that is on your computer. And when you select any one of these, this window will close up and replace the word with the selection that you make. It could be Bubbles, Halloween, or whatever you choose. Take notice on the bottom, Windows Live Photo Gallery will also allow you to use your personal pictures. Once we have a selection, in this case I chose ribbons, it will replace that word. None is no longer being used. And there's some other things I want you to see, is that the little monitor in the center of this window will reflect what you have chosen. Now once you do this, why, you also have a button there to press on to preview, and preview will bring you full screen action. Now be careful when you do this because I have seen people click on this button, move the mouse away, and it just flickered in and out real quick. So what you want to do is when you click on this, you don't want to move anything. Take your hands off the mouse immediately, don't move it, and it'll display what the screensaver that you have chosen looks like. Now on every screensaver there is a different settings. It pertains to what screensaver you choose. In other words, each screensaver on its own is an individual program by itself. And when we click on settings, in our case with the ribbons, we are going to be able to see what those settings are. Over here we have wait time, and I have it set at 30 minutes. There is two arrowheads, one up and one down. That is called a spinner. And the spinner, whichever portion you put your mouse on, will enable you to increase or decrease the time. Otherwise, you can highlight the 30 in there and change it to any amount of time you want, up to 999 minutes. So each increment is a minute. Now on here, we have it set this way on most of our computers in the room. Resume on display login screen. That means that when you turn on your computer, there's a logon screen where you have to put in your password or go into a free account. When you make changes on this, be sure to press the apply button, and you'll be able to continue to make other changes. This is a button that is intermittent. You press it as often as you wish. However, when you go to close it down, it will save it and close down as well. As you can see on this screen here, we do have certain power settings to take, and on these power settings we will be able to have our power for how the computer is going to operate. For example, on this screen, when I go into the screen, clicking on that button, I have a laptop here that I'm showing it to you with. HP recommended change plan settings. Automatically balances performance with energy consumption on capable hardware. Another one is on the power saver on the bottom, and they're pretty much the same almost. You can have them set to 2 different settings and just choose one or the other. I left click on change settings and I get this screen. Since I have a desktop, it has a setting to dim the display on battery or when it's plugged in. Each column is for those 2 instances. And where I have it on battery, I will have it dim on me. However, when it's plugged in, I want this to operate steady. Put the computer to sleep means that it will shut down completely and be able to have all the programs that you have had open before restored when you restart your computer. There is a slide bar on the bottom to adjust the brightness of your screen. There is very typically when you're on battery, it might not be as bright as when it's plugged in, and maybe you'll want to adjust these slides to make you whatever you want it to do. Only one column will be displayed for a desktop, and the other one is for the battery. On the arrowheads of each button, there is a selection to choose from 1 minute all the way up to 5 hours, and these are different increments that are preset. You cannot put in your own setting in between. You cannot set it for an hour and a half. You can set it for 10 minutes, 25 minutes, whatever you want there, but it's on the even quarter of a minute. And on the hours, it's even hours. So you do have that selection here. Each one of these buttons here has the same display. So it will be that way. Even when you have it on the battery or when you have it plugged in, you can have that adjusted differently. Remember always to save your changes whenever there is a change. Do not use the red button at the top. It will not save your changes. Apply will allow changes to take place and choose the window that you wish. Take notice that we do have a lot of flexibility on here, and the only thing I didn't show you is the settings that you have for each screensaver. As you go into the settings for each screensaver, be aware that they are all different, especially when you get them to come down from the web itself. And when that happens, why, you're going to have a whole lot of other screensavers as well. You might even, when you download something from the web, you might even have a hot button to be able to kick on the screensaver so that when somebody walks in, you can turn on the screensaver and they will not see what you're working on at all. Well, this is Paul Jones Coming up on the 15-minute mark here, and I'm going to continue with this with part 2. At that time, I'm going to be able to talk to you about the color schemes that are involved with the computer and being able to see how other settings are made from the same window. So this is Paul Jones, and I'd like to remind you that over at the First Church of the Brethren, you are welcome to stop by and visit if you're in the Harrisburg area. And we are on Wednesday mornings, Thursday mornings, Thursday afternoon, and Thursday evening. We also have activities for the children. So there's a lot of activity in this computer room. And I'd like to invite you to come when possible. Well, thank you very much. And be sure to follow through with part B.